Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and friends, today we gather to celebrate a remarkable individual who has impacted many by her faith in God and helping others live authentically. This person is known as Sadie Robertson, and she has personally affected my life, my faith, and how I view myself. Today, I will be speaking about Sadie Robertson and how she has specifically helped me get over my anxiety, how she has inspired me to be more bold, and how she has also challenged my faith in God. So let's jump into the first point. Sadie has inspired me to be bold. An article by East Point states that I relate to Moses' story so much because when God came to Moses, Moses was not looking for that call in his life. He was so insecure. He's like, I have a speech impediment. And I'm like, they asked for their money back. No, I'm not a speaker. You argue with God, but it's actually not about you. It's about the plan that God has for your life. I really like this quote specifically because it's talking about Moses getting over his speech impediment and having those fears prior, and knowing that Moses went on to be someone who was great and spoke to crowds of people. This is something that also personally helped me, and I really related to that, and the fact that I have had fear with speaking in front of people and also singing in front of people. I also want to mention that she was on season 19 of Dancing with the Stars at 17 years old, and it's just very inspiring knowing that someone that young would be able to go through something like that and be that bold. popculture.com states that a study came out years ago, and it talked about how people who have already been in a shark attack are no longer afraid of sharks. That's why you notice people will still get in the ocean. You're like, how's that possible? Because when you survive something, you feel like you've conquered it, so you're not really afraid of it anymore. And this is a quote that she had done in an interview after season 19 of Dancing with the Stars came out, where she's talking about the sharks. And this, for me personally, I really resonated with, because sometimes you just have to take that leap of faith and just step into what you need to do and overcome your fears. And relating to fears, the next thing that she helped me get over was my anxiety. So, and the Christian Broadcast Network states that I used to live in a lot of fear. I had a lot of anxiety and really dealt with panic attacks, the whole 9 yards. Anything fear, I was totally living in it. I was actually in the season of my life when I was very, very public, Robertson told CBN News. I don't feel like people were really seeing the fullness of who I was because I was so afraid. And this quote really, really sat in my heart when I read this, just knowing that someone like Sadie, who is comes off as very confident, and she's a very well-known speaker in the Christian community especially, and I have personally heard her speak, and she, as someone who does not stumble over her words and is well researched and very confident, just knowing that someone like her has dealt with anxiety and panic attacks and has had this fear as well was really encouraging for me in regards to just getting over my anxiety, and just being able to do the things that I'm afraid of. I also want to mention that Sadie, she released a book called Live Fearless, which specifically is designed to help women, specifically around the ages of their teenage years to college age years, and it's supposed to help them get over their crippling anxiety and her experiences with it. And one of the quotes from Live Fearless states that when we're afraid, we have a tendency to pray and ask God for peace before we'll step out and do what frightens us. But most of the time, we simply need to move forward. So just as I had mentioned about taking that step and leap of faith, just being able to just do instead of thinking so much and being wrapped up in our fears. And this is something that has significantly impacted me, especially this book and the way that I view things, and something that I'm definitely still working on. But as I've read this book, it has impacted the way that I have thought about anxiety and fear overall. And just as I had mentioned about relying on God and just taking that leap of faith, she has also challenged me in my faith with God, and especially in the podcast that she has called Whoa, That's Good Podcast, where it covers various topics from modesty culture to relationship issues from a Christian perspective. And each video that I've watched has been very impactful to my life, but I want to cover specifically a video called A Messy Conversation About Modesty, which states that I think you can't say, oh, well, is it a tank top? Is it a short? Is it this? Is it that? I don't even think that's the right way to look at it. I think it's like, are you content or are you trying to prove something? And this has really shaped the way that I have viewed modesty, in the fact that it's more so about your intention about on what you're wearing versus how society views your clothes itself. And it has really helped me shape my definition of modesty. And I also wanted to mention she has covered topics about social media as well. And BillyGraham.org states that if you're looking at social media more than you're looking at Jesus, you're going to be confused on the truth about who you are. The more you learn about who God is, the more you'll learn about who you are, and the more influence you'll see that you have. And I think that social media is something that is very prevalent in today's society and day and age, and has affected a lot of young people and young adults and anyone that has used social media about their definition of who they are as a person. And she has really shaped identity in general for me and redirected me back to the Bible and back to God, and knowing that my worth and my value, my identity comes from God itself. So these are just some of the ways that she has truly been impactful for my life personally, and she has helped me live authentically. And not only has she helped me learn how to be bold and courageous and step out and do things that might be difficult, she has helped me overcome my anxiety, and she has helped me strengthen my faith overall. Sadie has been someone that has been like a sister to me, and I highly recommend checking out her Whoa, That's Good podcast and checking out any of her books. And if you have dealt with anxiety or dealt with needing a push in faith.